All right, what's up, everybody? It's Nicholas Atkin here on the South China Morning Post in Hong Kong, SCMP MMA, coming to you live from Hong Kong. I got JHK, John Yonko over in South Korea. Another important episode of the Post Fight Podcast coming your way. We got a lot to talk about. Main topics: Conor McGregor, of course, the reaction to his leg break, his UFC 264 loss to Dustin Poirier, his social media storm, deleting tweets left, right, and center. But John, first up, as always, going to ask you how you doing, man.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Looking
I'm
fresh
about
there.
to I'm about to go get my first shot of two next
Oh
week.
shit!
I'm happy about that, man.
There
Maybe
you
I'll
go.
maybe once I get my shots, I'll have a couple days and I'll just fly out to Hong Kong and we'll do this live together in person.
Always welcome. That's cool. Just watch out for that arm. You can't lift that arm up. So if you got to do all your typing and you're holding the microphone, just be ready for that. Get that dead
For
arm
sure.
going.
For sure.
Uh, yeah. Well, look, I guess we got to start with Connor, huh? It's it's been a weird day. He posted a bunch of tweets, deleted them all very quickly, or someone on his behalf deleted them. Probably his management team over at Paradigm Sport. We don't know, but as is the way of the internet and social media, nothing can be deleted really. Everything is forever. And yes, they have all gone all over MMA media everywhere. I'm going to bring up MMA Junkie. I mean, I wrote the story for SCMP, but I'm just going to take this one now. But if you want to read an article, go over to scmp.com/MMA. We've got it all there. But for presentation's sake, I'm using MMA Junkie just because they actually have the pictures in there. And this is it. Conor McGregor takes shots at Dustin Poirier and his family in cryptic deleted tweets. There you go. You can see he posted a picture of Poirier with his daughter, which Poirier had put it on his Instagram story. And then he wrote up a few strange follow up tweets saying, I'm dangerous, man. Gonzo, I'm a nasty dude, I promise you. Took another couple of shots at Dustin's wife, Jolie. A lot of people, John, are taking this as Connor threatening Dustin and Dustin's young daughter. I don't know if we can directly make that a thing, but I mean, you can definitely interpret it that
Insinuation.
way. Yeah, you can definitely interpret it, and a lot of people aren't happy about it. He's crossed the line there, hasn't he?
Yeah, you shouldn't be posting pictures of, people's kids and then typing in some weird, what is it, Gonzo, and I'm a
Gonzo.
dangerous man, and
Well,
I'm a
the
nasty
dangerous
dude.
man and I'm a nasty dude. I promise you were quotes from Dustin's on UFC Countdown. He posted a clip of that first. Dustin saying, "I'm a nasty dude. I promise you, I'm dangerous man." So those ones, he's he's quoting Dustin, but he's doing it after he's posted the picture of their kid. It is very strange.
I'm
Yes.
just trying to I'm just trying to picture Conor McGregor, right? He's out of surgery. It's been around 48 hours. He's the pain, of the leg break. It's unbearable. We've seen Anderson Silva talk about it. We've seen recently Chris Weidman, him going through it right now as we speak, and they've talked about the pain of that leg. You know what I mean? Of just afterwards, after the surgery, in the recovery, all of that, and to combat the pain, you have to take medication, right? Just visualize Conor McGregor sitting in the hospital bed with the pain in his leg. They're pumping him full of medication. He's out of his mind and he's doing things uncharacteristically. Could we say that? We could. But that, if you want to argue the other side of it, he was saying those things inside the cage right after he broke his leg at Dustin, at his wife. So it's almost like he's just continuing that banter, and I don't know, man. It's not a good look for Conor McGregor at all. You know what I mean? We loved his brash, trash talk, but it never went this far, man. And the thing is, Conor McGregor has kids too. He has a family. How would you feel if Dustin Poirier? How would he feel if Dustin Poirier was posting pictures of his kids and then writing these things down. You know, like you got to put yourself out of that. You know, I mean, put yourself outside of it and then look at it like that. I don't think he would like that too much, and I don't know why he would do that. I don't understand, man. I would like to see him explain this whole scenario. You know what I mean? Like, why did he do this? Like, is the rematch that important to him? You know what I mean? Like, the dude's worth
Well,
probably like
he
$500 million. Like, it's
he did
fighting.
something that because Ronda Rousey said something. McGregor, oh, you know, he's promoting the fourth fight as soon as he hits the floor. You know, that's incredible. Everyone should follow suit. He retweeted that and said, "Thank you, Ronda. Really appreciate it." But there's promoting fights, and then there's doing this, and that's
Ronda
costing.
Rousey's out of her goddamn mind too. Like, what's wrong with her? You know what I mean? Like, you're out of MMA. The last time we saw you was returning off, getting knocked out by Holly Holm, and then getting knocked out by Amanda Nunes. And when you lost for the first time, you hid from everybody. You know what I mean? Like why would you even come out when Conor McGregor is going through this? Like, you should just chill. You know, she was doing great with Travis Brown and their whole farm and home and family and all that stuff. She was living a good life. Like, what's the purpose of her coming out and saying that? Like, I guess it's, you know, one athlete to another, but there was no reason for that. Conor, you know, people are saying like, oh, he's doing the Scarface thing. And I see someone in the comments. It's like, he doesn't need to do that. Like, Conor has, what was his, like, he has how many followers on social media? Like, was it like 40 million or something like that? Something ridiculous. You know,
Yeah,
was it 40
on
million?
Instagram,
Yeah.
over 40. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Like 40 million is like the population of countries. You know what I mean? Like, that's more people than in Hong Kong, right?
Oh
Do you
wow, a
know the
lot more.
population of Hong
There's
Kong?
about 7 million.
Exactly, dude. 40 million. Then Hong Kong is 7 million people. It's like crazy. Like, him tweeting those things out, and he's almost like becoming like John Jones, but just like a worse version of John Jones. Because, you know, John Jones has been doing this for a long time. He would tweet things out and then erase it, right?
Yeah.
But this guy is posting pictures of like someone's kids, and kind of insinuating that he's, you know, he's after them or something. It's, you know, like Junkie said, or like all these other publications are saying, these are cryptic. It's weird, cryptic. When we hear the word cryptic, we think like the hieroglyphics or something
Yeah.
from like 10,000 years ago. We don't think of Twitter, right? But I guess these are cryptic, and I don't know. I just think that Conor McGregor, I don't want to make an excuse for him, but I think Conor McGregor is out of his mind. I think they're pumping him full of drugs. He's in a lot of pain. And this is the result of it, right? So it's very confusing. I wish he's not. I wish he wouldn't do this. And the funny, not funny, but you know what's the bad part about this is, I think he's going to continue doing it. I think he's just going to keep going.
Well, someone's got to get hold of him because
There is nobody to get a hold of him, right? Like, his ego. You know, to be a fighter, you have to have extreme ego, right? Like, unrealistic ego, right? And Conor McGregor has probably the most ego, you know, of any fighter in probably the history of, and that's what made him so successful too. At the same time, that ego made him confident, and then he went in there and performed so well under the lights. But now it's like biting him in the ass, right? It's like coming back on him because he's not that Conor McGregor anymore. He's not the one that went out there in Madison Square Garden and like totally dismantled Eddie Alvarez. He's not that fighter no more, right? In his mind, he is, but in his body and in his skill set, it's not there anymore, right? And it's like almost like he's compensating for all of that with this like trash talk, because the only thing he can do from the hospital bed is this. That's it. You know what I mean? And he wants to stay in the headlines. This is how he's going to stay in the headlines. And it's reaching for straws. It's kind of desperate. I wish he wouldn't do it. And like you just said, Nick, he needs to have somebody there for him to say, like, dude, just chill out, man. Like, just focus on chilling. Like, you know, there's nothing you can do from the hospital bed. There's nothing you can do from your home. You just go home, spend time with your family, you know what's know what's important for you. You know what I mean? And what's important for you is not to go after Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier, it's almost like Conor McGregor's promoting Dustin Poirier for Dustin Poirier now. Don't you think? Don't you think so?
I think he's trying to set up the fourth fight, but you focus on healing the leg first, right? And I personally wouldn't put him straight in against Dustin again. I think he's got to get a win, at least one win. He's not won a fight at lightweight since 2016, that Alvarez fight, right? I think so. He definitely needs a win. Some comments here I just read out. Yeah, Tan, new one saying he should be arrested. Leave the kids out of it, says USA. Connor's wrong for that. It's only business. Alan suggesting he should have to fight Gaethje or Chandler as punishment. He definitely needs to fight someone else. We talked a little bit about this in the recap, me and Chris, who he should fight. A lot of people thought RDA. RDA's piped up again today, having another pop at Connor. What do you think, John? I didn't get your
he's
thoughts
not
on
going to
it.
get RDA. RDA is not going to fight him. Connor's not going to be back for like at least 2 years. If he does come back. I don't think he's going to be back for another 2 years. And if he does come back in another 2 years, do you even see RDA fighting in 2 years? We don't even know where RDA will be in 2 years. He might not even be with the UFC. Who knows? You know what I mean? And when Conor does come back, I think the only fight, if he does come back, and who's somebody that might be hanging around at that time, would be Nate. That's it. That's the only fight that they can make, because Nate is coming off losses, and he probably will lose maybe 1 or 2. You know what I mean? 1 or 2, by then, because he fights like once a year. And it will just set up the Conor fight really well. You know what I mean? They'll probably talk trash, online towards each other. I'm surprised Nate hasn't come out on social media. You know what I mean? Like, he's been quiet, right? It's kind of surprising in a way.
I mean, maybe Nate feels this guy's below me now,
Damn,
that
could be true. That could be true.
Because Conor is not covering himself in glory at all. And Tan says, I blame his manager, Audi. Does Audi need to step in, John? Can he? Because he has if there's anyone who can maybe talk some sense to Conor, it's Audi. I've met him when he came to Hong Kong. Very nice guy, very smart man, very savvy businessman. And he'll be thinking, you're damaging not just yourself, but my brand, our brand Paradigm. They're business partners. They're not, Conor's not his boss in a way. It's 50-50 on a lot of things they do.
You can't blame Audi. You know what I mean? Like, the only person to blame is Conor McGregor. If you feel like he did something wrong, that's the only person to blame. You know what I mean? Like, Audi is not, he's not in control of Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? Audi is not like in this, what is that conservatorship? That Britney Spears thing that's going on right now? Like, her dad, like, basically controls her life. Like, that's not the situation for Conor McGregor, right? Like, Conor McGregor's his own man. You know what I mean? There's no one to blame except for him. If he does something that is out of pocket, if he says something that is, offensive, it's all on Conor McGregor. There's nothing on Audi, right? Audi could guide him, maybe give him some counseling, but you could only counsel somebody when they want to be counseled, right? Like, you could talk to somebody all day, every day, and it's in 1 year and out the other. And you probably ran into people like that in your life. I've run into people like that in my life, right? You try to help them, they don't want to listen to it. So you just got to let them go and do what they do and make a mistake. So there's a lot of mistakes that's going to happen, I think. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg for Conor, man. I think Conor's just going to be going wild in the next, I don't even know how long. But you know what, though? The UFC doesn't care. I don't think the UFC cares. I think the UFC is like, whatever. Let him do his thing. You know why?
Well, they
It's just going to draw more attention.
Yeah, 1.8 million, I think the buy rate was. But I was thinking, is there a point when Disney steps in as the ESPN owners? Does this damage their brand?
No, because like, Conor doesn't work for ESPN. I don't think they're step in. And even if ESPN says anything, what would Conor say to them? He'd just flip them the double bird and be like, get out of here. Like, you're nobody to me. And, if they're not going to do nothing about Stephen A. Smith and his wild antics, you think they're going to do anything about Conor McGregor? Come on.
What did he say today? Something stupid about Shohei Ohtani, right?
Yes,
Uh,
just idiotic stuff. And now
yeah.
they're gonna have some like panel go on this morning on First Take to talk about the backlash that Stephen A. Smith is getting. But it is what it is.
They do a panel on their own panelist saying something
Exactly.
stupid. Yeah. Okay.
It's funny. It's funny.
John KL saying this is why it's refreshing to have a straight up champ like Christian Lee, excellent human, excellent fighter. And John, I think John also pointed out Dustin didn't call out Christian Lee. Didn't want any of that smoke, did he? All jokes aside,
Yeah.
Christian is a lovely guy and an example of, yeah, what a real role model should be. But Conor's never professed to be a role model, has he? Like the way Dustin Poirier is a real role model and he says, I want to lift up people who don't have a voice. Conor's never been that guy. He's very charitable, gives a lot of money to charity, but he's never said, I want your kids to look up to me and things like that.
No, I
So
don't think
it's cage
I don't
fighting, isn't it?
yeah. I don't think any fighter has really come out and said that they want to be a role model. Has there been? I don't even think
I
Dustin
think
Poirier.
Dustin,
I don't think he said that. I think he said that he wants to help people
yeah,
and he wants to use the foundation to, to uplift people that are in need, but I don't think he's saying that he wants to be a role model for kids because man, it's the thing about being a fighter is that it's kind of a it's a weird position, right? Like your job is to go in there and hurt somebody like badly. You know what I mean? Your job is not to go out there and score 3-pointers, score goals, you know what I mean? Throw touchdowns, catch touchdowns, run in touchdowns. Your goal is to go in there and demolish another human being and hurt them. And when you do that, it's hard to be a role model for kids because when you go meet kids and like say like a 5 or 6 year old, and then, most parents, like me, I'm fine with it, but most parents are not going to want to take their kids that's like 5, 6, 7 years old to meet a fighter, right? It's not a normal thing. It's not accepted right now as that, right? So it's hard to be that type of role model, but man, it's not a good look. I think Dustin, he's going to win in this, dude, like exponentially. Like it's going to be insane like how he benefits from all of this.
yeah, I think one championship has taken the other tack, haven't they? Of like, oh, fighters. Oh, sorry, they're not even calling them fighters; they call them athletes because they do. And like you were saying, parents probably a bit worried to let their kids watch this stuff and idolize these guys and girls. But one presents it the other way, don't they? Where they say they're athletes, they're martial artists. It's all about respect and honor. And there is a lot of things that Dustin does, respectfully. This is what I'm trying to get at. That he said, like you said, John, when he steps in the cage every time, he prays for him and his opponent that they both go home safe to their family. Because he says, I know I'm gonna try and hurt this dude. He's gonna try and hurt me. I just think there's some things you can do to be respectful and maybe not necessarily a role model. That might be a bad word. I mean, there's some things Conor could do a bit better, but like you say, that's his brand, isn't it? He's always been this way, and it seemed fake when everyone saw him with Cerrone in the second Poirier fight. It's funny because now everyone is saying, "Oh, this is Conor's being fake by doing his trash talk," but that's real Conor, man.
Yeah, I
It
think
just
Connor,
his
even
trash
when
talk
he was,
slipping a
I
bit.
think when he was even gonna fight Cowboy, I think that was Connor. I think Cowboy didn't really have a problem with Cowboy. Like he was just like, yeah, I want to
Mm.
fight this guy. He wants to fight me. Let's go out there and put on a show. And also leading up to the second Poirier fight, same situation, man. There was no animosity, right? But then after that fight, things were said. Connor got triggered. Sometimes Connor gets triggered, right? And
Yeah.
then he got triggered, and leading up to this, he took this this trash talk to another level, right? And it was, I don't know. I think it was just Connor being Connor. I think people when they say like, oh, he was like, like he was running out of things to say, and I think it was just him, man. It was just him doing his thing, and he's been like that the whole time. um it's, I don't know what, like when I was doing the live hangout with James and we are like reacting to it like instantly, At first, I thought his ankle was broke, and then I figured it was his leg that was broken. And I thought, man, I don't think he should fight anymore. You know what I mean? And you know me, Nick. Like, I don't say fighters should retire, but man, the dude is worth like almost $500 million. Dude just snapped his leg, right? He's champ, like the first ever in history. He's won, double champ in 2 promotions. Like, he's been to the highest of the mountains, right? He fought Floyd Mayweather. Like, what else is there to accomplish for this guy, right? Like, if the path to the title was let's so-called easier, maybe. But man, the path to the title is not easy at all. And imagine if Khabib was sitting there, right? Like at the top.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for him to do that. Like he could go back home, heal his leg, go through therapy, and run his businesses, man. He's got so many successful businesses, right? Like that's going on right now. Like that McGregor fast thing. He's got people working out all around the world, following his program. And man, I'm pretty sure he's making a lot of money off that, and the whiskey and and his promotion and his like suit company and all kinds of stuff, man. This guy is a machine. And why would you continue fighting? Like, there's no reason for that, man. It's like, if you can't compete at the highest level, why would you, if you have other options, why would you continue? It's like the whole Brendan Schaub situation, right? Brendan Schaub, he got to the certain level of his career and then he hit a plateau, right? And then he realized, okay, I can't go any further. I'm gonna pivot over to entertainment, right? I'm gonna pivot over to broadcasting or podcasting and comedy. And look what he did. He did great, right? I think Conor, there's nothing, he needs to prove to us, right?
Do you
But
think Conor could start if he just started a podcast? It'd be bigger.
oh
than
my God,
Joe
dude, that'd be like one
Rogan's.
of the biggest
Yeah.
podcasts, just like him just ranting for 30 minutes a week.
Yeah, exactly right.
Imagine how big that, like, it didn't even have to be video. It'd just be him with his iPhone just talking to it, and then just release that sound, the file, the sound file, right? Like, imagine if he created, like, imagine he owns Mac Life, right? Like, he's the one who owns it,
Yes.
right? So imagine like if he's
awesome.
just started a show on the Mac Life website, like a weekly show where he talks to fighters like he's Ariel Helwani, but it's Conor McGregor, and he just brings in fighters from on Skype, and he just chats with them. Like, imagine how massive that would be. Like, how many people? I would watch it, wouldn't you?
Absolutely would watch it. It'd be
Exactly,
huge.
man. Like,
But
there's so
I
many
think
things he could do.
he's got too much pride, and he doesn't want to step away without winning the belt one more time. I think.
Well,
I think he would have hung around if he'd beaten Dustin the second or third time. He would have got a title shot, right? And then if he'd won the belt, he probably would have just walked away, maybe then again forever. Because I don't think he wants anything with some of these guys coming up. Islam Makhachev is going to be the champion, I think, in space of 2 years. Is that wild to suggest?
that's a possibility. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, and there's no way Conor's going to beat some of these guys coming up, I think. I already think he's, like you said, the path to the title is so hard now, right? What's it going to look like in 2-3 years? So he's at a crossroads, definitely.
If you look at the top 10 or the top 15 right now at lightweight, right? You got Armin, you got Thiago Boizes, Brad Riddell, Diego Ferreira, Kevin Lee, Gregor Gillespie, Islam Makhachev. Gregor Gillespie would be problems with him wrestling. Makhachev wrestling. Even Dan Hooker would give Conor McGregor a lot of problems, right? Then you got RDA I think RDA would run over Conor McGregor, right? Like, RDA's skill set is just tailor-made to defeat McGregor. Ferguson, that would be actually a pretty good fight. I think that would be a good matchup. But what, in 2 years, do you think Ferguson is going to be in the top 15? No, I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's going to be happening, man. And then you got guys like Rafael Fiziev. Imagine Rafael Fiziev versus Conor McGregor. Like, if he comes back, that's type of fighters that he's going to have to face, right? And I don't think it's going to be fun to be facing guys like that, deadly guys like that, with the half a leg. You know what I mean? Like, his leg is not going to be the same. You remember when Anderson Silva first came back off his broken leg? you kind of saw that Anderson Silva didn't want to kick anymore. It was like his kicks were just labored, right? It just wasn't the same. His confidence wasn't the same. And do you think when Conor comes back, if he does come back, that his confidence is going to be the same in his kicks? Because his kicks is what kind of got him to where he was, right? His kicks set up his punches. And if he doesn't have that, then what does he have? It's not like he has like great wrestling. He doesn't have great submission skills. You know, he probably, if you look at it, if he went in a grappling match with the top 15 in the lightweight division right now, who would he beat in the grappling match? I don't think he would beat any of these guys in a straight grappling match, right? Even in a wrestling match.
Well, Derek Brunson posted, you saw it here first, you heard it here first. Conor's next fight will be at 145.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Derek Brunson is...
Look at, like you said, right? Can you imagine Conor and Volk? Volk's gonna kick the shit out of that leg,
oh my
right?
God, dude. It's not gonna be a good fight, dude. At 145 too, like I don't think his body will allow him to go to 145. You know, it looked like he had a little trouble getting to 155 this time. You know, I mean, he likes to carry a lot of muscle. And, you know, why would you want to, you know, knock on death's door one more time to go to 145? There's no reason to. So Alan Bones Jones was saying that Conor officially said he won't be back for 2 years.
No, he's just asking you because I think you said you don't expect him to be back in 2 years.
Yeah, Conor didn't say anything. Conor doesn't know. He's sitting in a hospital bed with a broken leg, right? He doesn't know for sure. Like, I'm thinking that it's gonna take him that long because from what I heard from medical, you know, I've been watching some videos on YouTube, and they're saying that, you know, and these are from doctors, right? They're saying that the lower the break is on the leg, the longer it takes to heal, right? And imagine like he rushes back too fast. His ego's that big where he's like, "Oh, my leg feels fine. Let's go. Let's grapple. Let's kick." And then he breaks it again, right? He fractures it again. Who knows what can happen, right? I'm just saying, like, it's gonna take some time, like the healing process.
Well, I made this point in the recap that I feel he maybe rushed back too quickly this time because the leg, I don't know if it's the same leg, but one of them got chopped up by Poirier, right? In the second fight. And
Yeah,
he clearly been training this, you know, repeatedly kicks. And like he said in his own tweet after Weidman broke his leg, he said something like it looked like Weidman must have had damage there already coming into the fight, you know, from overworking it and micro tears, I think he said. And I made this point, maybe Conor already damaged his leg coming in and it was already weak. And the first time he hit bone on bone, it basically snapped. Well, very nearly. It was, you know, on its last legs. No pun intended. Too many leg breaks and arm breaks recently, says Tan. I agree. Do you think that's something, John? We've had 2 leg breaks in the last 3 pay-per-views. Is this just the popularity of the calf kick now?
No, I just think that guys are way more skilled, way more powerful, way more dangerous. And this is just accumulation. I think we're going to see more and more of this as the future moves on. You know what I mean? Like, you know what's crazy about this too is that we're not getting leg breaks in the prelims. We're getting leg breaks in like the pay-per-view portion of cards, dude. It's not even like somebody broke their leg at, you know, at the apex at, you know, on a fight night. These are pay-per-view cards, and then these guys are breaking their legs. Just shows you like the highest level guys going in there with all their weapons, so powerful and so skilled to where they can see everything coming and they're throwing as hard as they can. And then once they're checking kicks, blocking kicks, elbows, shins, whatever, and it's just doing damage, man. And this is just what's happening. I think we're going to see much more. I think we're going to see a lot of guys, not a lot of guys, but we're going to see people get injured. And we've seen it in kickboxing a lot, right? We've seen it in kickboxing, and we're going to see it even more, man. It's just going to happen. And we just got to get used to it.
Yeah. John KL pointing out Antonio Valencia, who was a player for Manchester United, he had a similar injury to Conor, same position, but he was back within 10 months and was running, training after 4 or 5 months. So maybe if everything goes well, Conor could be back next year, I think.
Is that's a football player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, football players, fighters, different types of training, different types of movement. You know what I mean? And you're not going in there to hurt each other. You know, you're you're not going in there to attack. Because think about it like this: if I'm fighting Conor McGregor when he comes back, wouldn't you be kicking his leg, the same
Yeah.
leg? Like,
But
isn't that the
there's also
purpose?
a psychological hurdle, like you said, as well, of
Exactly.
the
Major
player,
psychological
the
hurdle, right?
fighter. I mean, they take Luke Shaw, another Manchester United footballer. He also broke his leg horribly, and he's only maybe 5 years later just become back to the same form he had before. And I think he was psychologically scarred by it and didn't want to go into the tackles. He was scared the leg might break if he ran at full pace. Maybe someone would tackle him and it'd break it again. He's kind of gonna want to kick anyone after this. And
Yeah, it's like I don't care how big your ego is. That what is it? What you call it? That like I think it's like terror. It's like a terror that's in the back of your mind, right? That just it sits there all the time. And I'm pretty sure Chris Weidman has it right now. And I'm pretty sure Anderson Silva had it when he came back
yeah,
after his leg break. And we saw it in his fights. He wasn't the same, you know what I mean? He still can compete at the highest level, but it wasn't the same Anderson Silva. And
and
I
Anderson's
love Anderson
boxing now,
Silva.
right?
Yeah, so that's
So maybe
great, man.
Connor could just go and box, do a few celebrity
I
boxing.
wish.
Yeah.
If he does come back, I hope he comes back to box. You know, box Manny Pacquiao, box Logan Paul or Jake Paul or whoever Paul, John Paul, Sean Paul, the Pope John Paul. I don't know. Just box somebody, right? I think like he could make massive money. But the only problem with that is he's locked down by the UFC, right? If he goes and boxes or does anything else, the UFC has him on the contract. So that might be a problem. But you never know. You never know what could happen. But I think him fighting in the UFC, if he never comes back and fights in the octagon again, I wouldn't be mad at it, man. I'd be like, hey, Conor, he did things that nobody did. He has a place in the history of combat sports, one of the biggest stars ever. And we got to witness it all, Nick. We got to witness it all. It's like me when I got to witness Michael Jordan in his prime years when he won 6 championships, three, then 3 later after that. Like some of the guys that we've been able to witness, and with football, you probably witnessed a bunch of them, right? You got what about Messi? Would you consider
Messi,
Messi witnessing him and his
yeah.
marvel?
Ronaldo.
Yeah,
I've
Ronaldo.
watched Cristiano Ronaldo play live in the flesh, and that's something not everyone can say, right? And they won't be able to say.
Exactly. It's like I got to watch LeBron James play live. Like that's something that that's like you'll always remember, right? Like those types of like athletes. And Conor McGregor is one of those athletes, man. Like you cannot take that away from him. So if he walks away, if he goes and boxes, I think that would be perfect. Maybe he could box Ronda Rousey. I don't know. For charity.
Yeah, Tan, I think we talked about that, how already a little earlier that she was defending him, yeah, but no one else has been defending him, right, John? I don't think,
No,
maybe apart
because
from his hardcore Connor fans.
exactly. And I think a lot of Conor fans are jumping off the bandwagon too.
Yeah.
A lot of them. If you go on social media, you see a lot of people turning on him, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. You know what I mean? Like you can't say like, "Oh, I'm gonna ride for him, ride or die." Come on, man. There's right and wrong. And if you want to jump off, man. If you want to ride with him. It's up to you. It's your choice. But you know
I
what's
didn't
crazy?
actually see
Yeah.
Messi play live, sorry. I mean, I've
Okay.
watched Cristiano Ronaldo at Old Trafford, John KL, but I've never seen Messi play in stadium. I did
Did
see
you
him
watch?
destroy
Did
us
you watch?
twice.
Uh, what is it? Rooney play live too.
Yeah, and that was great. I saw some of the great Manchester United teams over the years. Not now anymore. I live in Hong Kong, but
What about Chisung Park? Did you watch him play with
yeah,
Rooney and
yeah.
all that?
I
Evra.
saw that was the team, man. The 2007 2008.
That's when I was watching Premier League, dude. Like when I was like a fan of Premier League. That's the only time when like Chizon Park was on that team. Ronaldo, Rooney, Evra, and a bunch of other guys. I forgot their names now, but that was a phenomenal season, dude. Like watching that, like everybody was watching it in Korea. And yeah, and I enjoyed it a lot. I was even playing the winning 11. You know what I mean? Like I was even playing the video games too. So it was an incredible time to watch that. Yeah, man. I think Rooney, he doesn't get enough credit because Ronaldo. Don't you think so?
Yeah. That's the thing, yes. That Rooney sacrificed some of the best years of his career to work, do the hard work so that Ronaldo didn't have to do any of the hard work,
Yeah,
and then
and
made
he's like the
Ronaldo look
Scottie
better.
Pippen. Like
Yeah.
he's like the Scottie Pippen and Ronaldo's the Jordan, right? On that team. Like me watching that, a person that's not really a huge football fan, I even saw that playing out throughout those seasons, right? It was just like, man, if Ronaldo was on another team and Rooney was like the number one guy, I think Rooney would have took him far by himself, to be honest with you.
But to bring it back in a way to Conor, I'm going to segue in. Rooney also had a couple of bad injuries, a couple of broken foot injuries, and
Yeah.
it was never the same really after that.
Mm-hmm.
The year after Ronaldo left, Rooney was having his best season ever. That he broke his foot, and he never really became the same player. Again, I don't know if there's some kind of psychological thing there, or must be a physical element as well. You're probably not going to run as fast or hard. Still scored some great goals and had a great career, but was never really the same. So that's what I'm saying. Is Conor, even if Conor wants and does all the rehab, does all the everything he's got to do right medically, is it psychologically, is he physically going to be the same? We don't know.
Well, I think when you look at like serious injuries and major injuries in combat sports, and you look at the guys that actually came back and got back to their glory days, there are none. Do you remember anyone?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, Alan Bones Jones can probably tell us a few in the comments. I'm sure.
Yeah, but like a serious injury, like a broken leg, even like a broken ankle, like a broken arm. There's not many guys that have gone through that. Even knee injuries, right? Certain fighters, they're good to a certain point, and then they jack up their knees, and then after that, they're just not the same. You know what I mean? They can beat some of the top guys, but they're never up to that top 5 or championship caliber level ever again. And it sucks to see, man. And that's why, like, when you see like the Korean Zombie, right? Like he's gone through so many injuries, right? Like throughout the years, so many surgeries, shoulder surgeries, knee surgeries, just endless amount of surgeries. Dominic Cruz. Yeah, he did. Actually, Dominic Cruz, he came back and he won the title, right? But that was a controversial win too. But Dominic Cruz, you're right. But there really is not any that have come back because Dominic Cruz, he was injured and he re-injured himself. Both Conor and GSP had ACL surgeries. Yeah, so I don't know.
Knee surgery is maybe not as bad as a leg break or
No knee surgeries. There's some that like you see. There's certain knees injuries that are worse than other knee injuries. Like there's a lot of components in the knee, right? Like it's just not like one knee or another knee. You know what I mean? What about some guys that like what's his name had a broken neck? He was fighting with a broken neck. Like
Kurt Angle.
no, Jordan Williams. I just talked to him like a couple weeks ago. He's fighting Mickey Gall like next week or something,
Okay.
and he had a broken neck, and he was fighting with a broken neck the whole time. And
What
what is it?
about Tom Sylvia?
Frank Mir.
Says Chris.
Frank Mir did come back from that serious motorcycle accident, and he became the champ. So that's a story. Frank Mir did come back from a real bad, what is it? Motorcycle
I'm glad
accident.
someone did, Dylan. John didn't pop for my Kurt Angle reference.
Why? Kurt Angle, what happened to him?
So he's a very famous WWE wrestler who won an Olympic medal,
Mm-hmm.
a gold medal no less, with a broken freaking neck, and then just had bad neck injuries for the rest of his career when he went into professional wrestling. I mean, I met the guy in like 2015 in London, and I got him to sign my book, my Kurt Angle book. He could barely hold the pen because there's no feeling in the left side of his left arm, right? Because he kept wrestling. He's still, I think he's only just retired a couple of years ago, but he was basically has no neck at all now. It's just he's like this. Had so many surgeries, and he needs to take painkillers just to compete, and you don't want that. But I guess wrestling's a little different. You get thrown on your back all the time, and there we go. How does one manage to avoid serious injuries? I mean, there was a leg break in one championship. Keanu Suba, right?
Yeah, he broke his leg.
Yeah, the brother of Gianni. Found this out the other day. If you want to know a random fact about Keanu Suba, he owns a keto restaurant in Kuala Lumpur with his wife. So
keto.
Being
keto
on keto
diet.
again, I shall go visit that if I ever go to Malaysia again.
Well, even if you're not on keto, just go and eat there, right?
Show some love to Mr. Suba. Anyone in Malaysia listening or in KL, go check it out. All right, what about John Kavanagh and his comments? Or any other injuries in one you can think of before we do that? Timothy broke his leg, says on. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Timothy, he broke his leg against who was he fighting? I remember that. And he fought with the broken leg until the end of the round, and then they stopped the fight because he couldn't get up. I remember that. Yeah, that was pretty nasty.
Ramona Pascal recovered from serious knee injury. Yes. Oh, yes. She was out for 2 years before coming back 2019, I think it was, and getting into the China Academy at the Shanghai Performance Institute. Now on the cusp of getting into UFC. Yes, Hong Kong's own Ramona had a nice win in Mexico last month. Brandon broke his hand during the Ongla fight. I think a lot of fighters break their hands, right? And that's
some fighters break their hand like every fight.
I think Ryan Hall broke his hand, he said, on the first punch against Ilia Topuria last weekend. So maybe that affected Ryan's performance. But anyway, let us know any more injuries in one championship or any other combat sports where they came back and were even better or at the same level. But we wanted to talk another topic, John Kavanagh's comments. I can bring these up on screen, but the gist of it, JHK, was that he said he wasn't concerned at all by Conor's performance before his leg broke. And Michael Bisping, who was on the BT Sport UFC recap, I think it was, said, well, if John Kavanagh truly wasn't concerned at all, Conor McGregor should fire him immediately. So, what do you make of this?
Damn, if Michael Bisping says that, I completely agree with him, man. Michael Bisping, retired Bisping, is a legend. Like, I love him. I love his style, man. He is one of the best characters in mixed martial arts right now. So he said that John Kavanagh, there's a clip on Twitter, I believe. Should we play that? There's a clip on Twitter of the Instagram live on Lauren Sanko's page, I believe. And it shows him explaining or talking about what he thought was happening in the fight. And just to talk about like him saying that he thought that Conor was doing well. I don't know. Like he was doing well for the first minute, I believe. For the first minute, he was landing the leg kicks, right? He was keeping, Dustin at distance because Dustin wants to get into that boxing range, right? And he was keeping Dustin away with the kicks. And then once they started to exchange, that's when Dustin landed with the left hand a couple times, and then Conor clinched up. And what happened? He jumped for the ghillie and got on his back, and that's when Dustin was thrown down heavy elbows, heavy punches, and Conor even grabbed the inside of the glove, completely cheating, right? And then pulling him forward and throwing up kicks, dude. I was just like, what? And I didn't see that during the fight, but then when you watch it again, dude, you see it clear as day. What is Herb Dean doing, man? First, he stops the fight in the, with Chris,
O'Malley.
yeah, the O'Malley fight, and he goes out there and can't even see a violation of the rules in the main event. Herb Dean, man, he fell off. And I love Herb Dean. Herb Dean is one of the nicest guys too. I've met him, talked with him, but I don't know what's going on with him, man, because he's refereed some of the biggest fights in history, and he seems to continue just making these simple mistakes, man. The he clearly grabbed he put his fingers inside of the gloves, dude, and was pulling Dustin forward and
I
throwing
only,
up kicks.
yeah, I've only just rewatched that because I thought it was strange. You know, in the heat of the moment, I had no idea how they actually got
Exactly.
back up to their feet, and it looks like Dustin just walked away because he's like, Herb, he's pulling my glove. I didn't notice that at the time, but
Yeah, me either.
I
I didn't
can't
notice it
find
at
this.
all.
I can't find the clip of Kavanagh.
Okay, it's all
I'm
good.
just gonna. I put it on screen here. I'll read it out
All right.
quickly. His comments about this were that it was going fantastic. I thought he looked really, really good in there. I wasn't concerned at all. This was with Laura Sanko for Wimp to Warrior, an Instagram live. I don't know what that is. I know what Instagram live is, but I don't know what Wimp to Warrior is. Sorry. And
Mhm.
at the 4:30 mark or even the 4:45 mark of round one, everything is gravy. I thought the energy looked good, technique looked good, a few adjustments in between rounds, and I thought round two we were well on track to getting a finish there. We'll keep the rhythm going for the rest of the fight. Credit to Dustin, he won. It's an unfulfilling end to the night. It doesn't feel properly finished, no closure. So
Well, John Kavanagh, right? Now, in the past, people have questioned if he's a good coach or not. And now this is just more fuel to the fire for those people that doubt his coaching abilities, right? Because when you look at the
yes,
fight,
is
like
he
I
just a
said,
hype man? John Cale says he's just a hype man for Conor at this point.
damn, that's harsh. But like with Kavanaugh, those comments, man, they're really suspect, those comments. Also, Conor was not doing very well. Like I just said, he was doing well in the first minute, and then when Dustin got into boxing rage, Conor got clipped, he got hurt, and then he he panicked basically and jumped for the guillotine and then laid on his back the whole time. If Dustin didn't walk away because Conor was grabbing the inside of his gloves, Dustin would have been continually elbowing him in the head, right? He was busting him up really bad on the ground, and he had nowhere to go because his head was stuck on the cage. And he's just lucky that, Dustin walked away because he was violating the rules. And then that's how they got back up to the feet and really worked against him, right? Because what happened? He broke his leg. If he would have kept his back on the mat, maybe he would have went to the second round. But that it's almost like really delusional, like how he felt about the fight, because he was just who who like when you watch the fight, do you see any point where Conor was winning the fight?
Well, this is what Bisping said. He said that was concerning. He said you were on your back and you were getting dominated, and it was a 10-8 round. Two of the three judges gave it a 10-8. I noticed. And then Bisping says that's concerning. You don't want to get your ass kicked. Simple as that. And that's what was happening. Now the leg break was unfortunate, but as I say, it gives McGregor an excuse or a reason why the fight ended. If that didn't happen, I mean, come on. Yeah, Bisping's basically saying you're talking shit there, son. So
Yeah, and like he said, like I think even if it went to the second round, I think Dustin would have took him to the ground again and continued to just, punch a hole through his face and elbows just continuously, constantly, just numerous amounts. And I think that's what would have ended the fight eventually. It's almost like the whole Nate thing, I mean, this mystical, like, oh, if Nate was, he had like one more round, he would win the fight. Like, it's come on,
sixth
like
round, Nate.
Nate has never won a 5-round fight. You know that, right? Like he's never won a 5-round fight. He's never won a fight that's went to to 5 rounds. And everybody's talking about, oh, if Nate goes 5 rounds, he'll win the fight. You know what I mean? Like even for Asabi was saying like, oh, Nate, if there was no time limit, he would beat 99% of the fights. Like, come on, dude. Like some of these coaches, dude, they're not really, they're speaking out of their ass sometimes, right? Like it's unrealistic.
Did you see what Dana said? I think it was taken maybe as a slight dig at Conor. I think it was at the press conference. The quote, it's not verbatim, but he said something. Someone was asking him, why do you think Dustin is, so much better now than he was in the first fight, and such a different fighter from that time they first fought, Conor and Dustin? And I think Dana said something because he trains with savages every day, day in, day out. Is Conor missing that element? He's not training with the best in the world day in, day out. He's got pushing himself. Dustin's got so many guys at that gym. Masvidal's there. You can, it's the who's who of MMA, isn't it?
Yeah. It's also
Dan Lambert's got a good crew there. So
Dana White is right. Dana White is right. I agree with him on that aspect. He like when Conor fought Dustin the first fight, what was that, like 8 years ago, right? I think Conor was at the top of his game, like mentally, physically, all of that. And then they were also in a different weight class. I think Dustin wasn't fully mature yet at that time. And Conor almost beat him or met him at the perfect time to beat him, knock him out, got him in his emotions, all of that. You know what I mean? Psychologically defeated him before he even got into the cage. And Dustin, he learned from that. And that throughout those years, Dustin developed into a more complete fighter, a more powerful fighter, a more skilled fighter, right? And on the mental side, much more solid, right? And then when he went to the second fight, it was even like tailor-made for him, right? There was no trash talk. Everything was, beautiful. And then by the time the third fight comes around, any amount of trash talk could not get through the wall, right? For Dustin, it was just like you could say whatever you want. Dustin knows what he needs to do when he gets inside that cage. You could have 1 million people in the crowd chanting for Conor. Dustin will still step in there and defeat Conor. I think that his mindset was that, like, is so solid. And then Conor, he was on a losing streak. He won 1 fight since 2016. Maybe his confidence wasn't at the same level as it was in the first fight. And it's just like, it's all about timing too, right? It's like there's so much that goes into like meeting certain fighters at the certain time to beat them, to defeat them. And that's why matchmaking is so important. But in this scenario, I didn't see Dustin losing this fight, man. Like the second fight, I was like picking Conor to win. And I thought Conor was going to go in there and win because I just thought Conor, maybe he still has it, right? Maybe he still has it. And when he went there and lost, I was like, okay, it's over. Like Dustin's gonna win the third fight. There's nothing that can get through that bulletproof vest that Dustin has now.
Jesse on fire saying, I stumbled on this, but these are solid takes. Thank you, Jesse. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We try to do this regularly, at least once a week, and plenty of good content on SCMP MMA. If you've not seen us before, we'll get to all that later, what's coming up. But yes, a few more things to talk about today. Tan Nguyen says, Dustin is the diamond. He went through fire and pressure every day and fought the best regularly. Yeah, I think he's got the 3rd most wins, is it now, in the UFC?
Dustin, I could
just
say
behind,
without a doubt.
He's behind Jones and GSP now. Is that maybe I've got that wrong? But
yeah, I could say without a doubt that Dustin Poirier is one of the best lightweights we've ever seen in the history of the sport.
And just getting better.
And he's getting better. He's not even done yet, right? He's a legend already. Like,
he's only lost
legend gets thrown around a lot.
Michael Johnson and Khabib.
Yeah, and I say like if he fought Michael Johnson again 10 more times, I say Dustin wins that fight. Probably 10 times. Well, right? He just got caught.
Khabib
is the one that's just Khabib is the boogeyman. Like whenever you talk about boogeyman, Like Khabib is the ultimate boogeyman. You know what I mean? Like I think even if Khabib comes back a year from now, he probably would beat everybody.
Yeah.
That's just how talented he is, right? That's just how skilled he is. He's not the best submission guy. He's not the best striker, but he's just best at what he does, and no one can stop it, which makes it so much more impressive. Like you know what he's gonna do, but you can't stop it. You know what I mean? Like it's like someone. It's like he has a gun and you have a knife, right? Like that's what it is. It's like he has a gun and you have a knife, right? And still, even if you're the best knife fighter in the world, he still has a gun and he's gonna shoot you. You know what I mean? Like it's just incredible.
Well, you
But
said you reminded me of something Khabib said.
mhm.
He did a couple of interviews with ESPN. I think it was an MMA junkie, and I just thought this was funny what he said. Basically, he said Dustin Poirier would beat Conor McGregor 100 times out of 100.
I think
Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think that's true. Now it's true. I think now Dustin, the way Dustin is, the level that Dustin's at right now, mentally and physically,
Okay, that's not loading.
yeah, mentally and physically, I think, yeah, Dustin beats Connor 100
Yeah.
times out of 100. I think that's a possibility. Maybe Connor gets a couple in there, but when you look at them and their last two performances, and you know, take the leg break out of it and just look at the performances that they put on in the last two fights, you'd have to say that. You'd have to agree with Connor, right? It's just or not Connor, Khabib, right? You have to
Yeah.
agree with Khabib. Yeah, Dustin, man, he's not even done yet. That's what's wild about this. And you know what was interesting about it? He's like he doesn't even like this whole like fighting thing. He just does it because he's good at it. that's
Yeah.
that's so honest though. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want to do interviews. He doesn't want to like, go, do all this like press conferences and all that. He doesn't want to do all that. He just wants to go fight and make money, right? And then do his charity and all that stuff. And man, he's one of the real guys, you know what I mean? Like
But do you
I
think that
wish
hurts his popularity a little bit? Not
yeah,
doing interviews so much because
of
the
course.
media. Sure, there is some bad people in the media who do clickbait, and they will take advantage of a fighter. But I think there's a lot of good ones out there who are complete opposite, and the media are your friend if you use them the right way. Roger Federer has always said this. He said he can't believe younger tennis players who shun the media and don't want to do these press conferences, and when they do show up, they show no personality. It's there for you to make yourself a star, right? And Dustin's
Yeah.
always, I think, very interesting. His press conference was great after this fight last weekend, but
Did you see like when one guy asked him, one of the people in the press conference, they asked him a question, and then another guy came along and says, "Oh, a question from a real reporter."
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
I
gonna say
remember
who
that.
it was, but
I was
that's
trying to
it.
figure out who it was. Did you
I'll tell
know?
you later. I'll tell you later.
Okay,
All
okay.
right, but yeah, Dustin, man, Dustin, he's been out there doing interviews with like people outside of fighting, and I've noticed that, right? He's trying to grow his brand outside of fighting, so he's doing other outlets, and that's good for him. You know what I mean? He should go on Rogan. I don't know. I don't understand why he hasn't been on Rogan yet. Like, what's the holdup on that? Does Rogan not like him or something? Um,
I don't know.
but I doubt it. I doubt it. But you know what I mean? It's just yeah, like for us, like we interview fighters, right? And we know that fighters can control what they say. I could ask a fighter a question and they don't even have to answer the question that I ask. They don't even have to answer it. They could just go on a whole nother tangent. You know what I mean? You can manipulate the media in your own way if you really wanted to, right? During the press conference, during interviews, during press junkets, whatever. You can manipulate it. And there's an art to it. And Connor did it too. Connor was manipulating the media, for a long time, right? He would just say what he wanted to say. And then there was people like reporters out there that would feed into that. You know what I mean? Remember the pink suit guy from last week? He didn't feed into it, right? Remember, he said you've only won one fight since the Barack Obama administration, right? and
Oh yeah.
and but it's true. It's the truth, right? But it got Conor into his feelings, man. Like really into his feelings. But let's say we go back 3 years, 4 years ago, I don't think anybody would have done that, to be honest with you. Everybody was just building, like eating, like what is it? Feeding the ego, right? But now it's not like that anymore. And people are starting to realize it. And I think Conor's starting to realize it a little bit, maybe. And that's why he's maybe putting on this act, like putting on this campaign to destroy Dustin somehow. I don't know, mentally or something. Why would you go on social media and do that? Like, come on. Like that's something that low level people should do, right? Like for
Yeah.
yourself, you don't need to do that. You could do an interview with Mac Life. You could do an interview with Ariel Hawani. You know what I mean? Like that would be more like doing an interview from your hospital bed with Ariel Hawani, right? Like, come on, do something like that. Do a Brad Okamoto or somebody like Joe Rogan
That's
or something.
forgot to actually think of that when we were thinking of what to talk about. But have you seen Ariel's comments about ESPN?
You know what? You know what's funny about that is that when Ariel left ESPN, remember what he said, that he had nothing bad to say about ESPN,
Yeah, he
and now
did. He
he's
has a
saying all
lot
the
of bad
bad things about ESPN.
I think they probably pissed him off somewhere afterwards.
Yeah, but I don't know why. Just because, like, he was talking about like
I
they're
what?
promoting those other shows.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's probably because he's seen them now. Suddenly, they're promoting all this stuff, and they never promoted him. That's what he's claiming.
But is that true?
I don't know, but this is what he said on the Dan Libertard show. I never got a single plug in my 3 years there. A single plug on any type of broadcast. I stopped counting at the seventh plug on Saturday for their 2 new shows. So
Why is
this
he
is,
counting?
I don't know. Why is he wearing a mask?
I
Like a
don't know.
luchador mask?
What is wrong with him, man? Like, I respect him for what he's done and what he's accomplished, but man, this is real petty, dude.
Well, he
This is
said
real petty.
this is interesting as well. He said that like Dana, there would be some events, like ESPN events that Ariel was at, and then he would have to be escorted out of the venue because, per his request, I couldn't be in his vicinity or his line of sight.
Well, I could
So
believe that. Like I believe
I
that.
feel like Dana has put some pressure on them not to give Ariel a pay rise or to give him a pay cut or whatever, and that's just my speculation. Not heard anything like that, right? But Ariel sort of alludes to it on this show with Dan Lebertard saying, they didn't want to give me. I don't know if he was being in character or something because he's wearing a wrestling mask, but he sort of
No.
alluded to they didn't want to pay me the money that they pay some of these other guys who don't know what they're talking about. And there are a lot of them at ESPN. Yes, I used to work there, and there's a lot of frustration and a lot of the lower rung employees who end up leaving, like I did, because you can be
But
very,
you know
very
what? You know
talented
what?
there, and you don't get anything.
In this like rant that he did on that show, he really shitted on his former co-host a lot. He said that they're not going to get the same ratings as me, and it's like, come on, dude. I thought you're their friends. You know what I mean? Like, I thought you and DC are homies. I thought you and Chael were buddies. Like, you don't have to shit on them, man. Like, it's not their fault that you left ESPN and then they decide to move on with other co-hosts, right? It's just that's what happened. That's the business. Ariel, I don't know, man. It's just he kind of went Connor a little bit, like it's like Connor, like Ariel went Connor, like in his own way. And hey, he has the right to express his feelings if he is bitter, right? He does have the right to do it. Is it petty? Yeah, because he said like a week ago or 2 weeks ago that he had nothing bad to say about ESPN, but now he's just dumping trash and taking a big old dump on him, right? And putting on that mask is just ridiculous. Why would you do that? Like,
Well, I don't know if he's yeah, going wrestling promo here, but this is another quote here saying, "There's only one heel, one." Yeah, I guess this is a promo, and he's looking right at you. And guess what? The ratings won't even be 1/4 of my ratings. They can promo all they want. I think that's kind of channeling the pro wrestling side of it, but there's clearly some bitterness there, isn't there? About
Yeah, of
and
course,
do
man.
you think these guys, the DC and RC show, and what's Chael got there? I don't know.
Somebody else.
Yeah,
But the thing is, like, they gotta move
Chael
on,
Sonnen
man.
show. I think he's got his own one.
Yeah, he has him and some
Yeah,
co-hosts that he has, right? And they gotta move on, man. Like, they gotta move on. They're gonna have a different co-host, and DC and RC. I think that that's a good combination. And they're not gonna just talk about MMA. They're gonna talk about other sports, which probably what DC wanted. DC probably wants to talk about other things that's
but
going on in
this is
sports.
what a lot of people are upset at. I think is they love DC and Helwani because it's very very focused on MMA and this is what ESPN does with a lot of shows. They bring in people who don't know about certain sports, but they're big in other sports, and they get them to talk on MMA. Like we had Stephen A. Smith and what's his face, Max Kellerman, on this McGregor card, and everyone was pissed off by that, right? But the thing about that is, it's sort of aimed at bringing in more casual fans, right? Because Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith are huge stars in their own right in what they do. So I don't know
Yeah,
who
but the
this
thing
guy
is,
RC is. Sorry, I know his
I know who he
accomplice
is. Like,
in
I
something else.
watched,
NFL, is it?
yeah, NFL, right? So the purpose, this is what my view is on them putting RC and DC together, is that RC, he brings in that NFL side to it, you know what I mean? And then DC brings in the fighting side to it, but they watch each other's sports. So they could kind of comment on the sport from their viewpoint, because RC's view of the sport is going to be different from DC's. We're used to DC's viewpoints, right? We're used to him talking about the sport, but RC talking about the sport, we haven't seen that yet, right? And I think that they want to just mix that together. And I'm going to full disclosure, I've never even seen a DC and Erwani show. The
I've seen clips of it. I never sat down and
I
watched the
never
whole
sat
thing.
down and
But
watched any of those shows, right? But
it
everybody
had a
says
lot
it's
of
so
fans.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's probably good, right? Whatever. But the thing is, like, RCDC, I see why they're doing it, and chill, man, chill's chill. Like, you could put him in there with a broomstick, and he's gonna have a good show, right? He has a show. He has his own YouTube channel, right? And his YouTube channel is massive. ESPN would have been dumb to let him go and allow him to go to another network, right? So they had to put him with somebody. So I don't know. It's Ariel, man. Ariel's like a roller coaster, right? He's like up and down, up and down, up and down. I thought he was gonna cry again on that clip. I was like, whoa, what's going on? Because I woke up this morning, right? And then I'm scrolling on the phone and I'm looking at him like, what is going on? And then Ariel's going off, and then I thought he was gonna cry again, like he did when the UFC kicked him out or whatever. And yeah, I didn't like that too much.
okay. Is this
Emotions.
true? You heard this?
What?
Judo says Ryan Hall will announce his retirement from MMA UFC later today. He told the students this morning.
What?
This is just I've not seen this anywhere, but
Man, what time so they're on the East Coast. So right now it should be 10 a.m. on the East Coast, or 11 a.m. on the East Coast, right? Maybe that's true. Maybe that's a possibility. Is this breaking news?
I don't know. I mean, he's probably not. He's just come back after 2 years of not being able to get a fight, and he got caught, and he didn't seem to suggest that. He put a lengthy Instagram post
Mm-hmm.
saying, this and that. I'm
Well,
not sure that's true. I'm not saying this is breaking news. It's just
yeah.
a
Well, Ryan Hall,
comment.
I hope he doesn't retire, right? Ryan Hall, I think he still has a bunch of good fights left in him, right? Maybe, he's just frustrated with the industry because he wasn't able to get fights throughout that period. With Ariel, man, let's just close it with this. He's in the best position he's ever been in his life and in his career right now, dude. Like, he's probably making more money than ever, and
Yeah.
he has the freedom to do whatever he wants. So who cares, man? Let him do this thing. You know what I mean? Let him
He could.
go head to head with Dana White. I would love to see it. Like I would love to see him come out more and just go at Dana White.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we need a bit more of that as well, because no one goes at Dana White unless they've been banned, and their credentials been taken away.
The bigger you are, I think it's the better it can be.
Dana White doesn't care about, the bloody elbow guys always criticize Dana, but he's probably like, who gives a shit about them?
But Ariel's me. Like I could attack Dana White all day. He doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like who gives a shit? Like what I say.
Ariel's a big name and he's a big influence. And does he have his own channel? Because he should definitely.
He does have his own channel. He does have his own channel. He should have a show called Ariel Attacks, and it's just.
It's whether I was thinking about this. The UFC pressures guys and girls not to go on his new ventures and things like that.
Do you think so?
Well, he had Conor on BT Sport 4 days ago.
So I don't think that's the case. I don't think they're gonna block fighters from doing interviews. I don't think that's gonna happen. Not like how I'm getting blocked.
All right, with Ryan Hall, apparently he will focus full time on teaching and looking for a couple of submission grappling super fights. Well, let's see if this turns out to be true. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's
interesting. If it's true, you heard it here first from Judo. But no concrete information. I don't have. I don't know.
We're not that type. So we're in the middle of talking. So
yeah,
we're not gonna drop our phone.
Ariel. Good luck to him, man. And a lot of people don't like him though, right?
Ariel's gonna be fine no matter what. That's the price you pay for having the amount of success that he's had, right? He's gonna have a lot of people that don't like him and a lot of people that hate him, and a lot of people that love him. And for him, he's in the best position he can ever be, man. He's one of the guys that are at the top of the game of media in this sport. And let him do what he does, man. And if he's gonna go after Dana White more, let him go after Dana White more. Why not? Did you see that clip of Luke Thomas when he was shitting all over Vox Media?
No.
Yeah, dude, he was just shitting all over Vox Media and MMA fighting.
Recently?
Yeah, after Ariel announced that he was leaving ESPN and he was joining Vox Media and MMA fighting, then he was doing one of his live chat shows, and someone sent me the clip. And and he was just shitting all over them, dude. It was like a real big dump. Dude, it was nasty. And I was just like, damn. Luke went hard.
Well, I'm trying to find it here. But what was he saying? Do you have a rough gist?
Yeah, he was just saying, like, if you want to have, like, if you have dreams and aspirations to, like, advance in this industry, don't go work for them. That's what pretty much that's what he was saying. I was just like, damn. Luke Thomas going hard.
Well, Luke Thomas and Ariel have beef, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They have something.
From the MMA Hour.
Yeah, I think Luke was saying also that he was promised a lot of stuff by Vox, and they never came through on any of it. Like, none of it. And
we'll see.
Well, we won't see because he works for CBS. And
no, we'll see if Ariel gets what he wants there. I mean,
I think Ariel will get whatever he wants wherever he goes. MMA fighting, I don't know, man. It's weird because MMA fighting seemed like, of course you want to add Ariel to it, right? Because Ariel's one of the biggest names in the industry, if not the biggest. But, man, there was a lot of guys doing really good work over there, and building their name. So I wonder how that's going to affect those people, and what they do. Just very interested to see what happens over there. But, good luck to everybody.
Luke Thomas trains at 50-50 with Ryan Hall, right? And I saw that Luke Thomas posted a picture that they were on the same flight together to Vegas for this card. Yeah. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Very interesting.
Let's see if this thing about Ryan Hall turns out to be true. Otherwise, did you have anything else you wanted to bring up today on this mighty edition of the Post-Fight Podcast?
Well,
You said
I
something
thought
about Colby and
okay, so this just in, Conor McGregor has been given a medical suspension until January 7th, 2022, unless he receives orthopedic clearance of his fractured left leg. Minimum suspension for 6 weeks and no contact until early or mid-August, as per Combat Sports Regulator MMA or Record Keeper. That's
ah,
that's a tweet by Al Dawson from I think Business Insider.
Insider. It is now just Insider.
Yeah. What about Colby Covington's
Yeah.
comments in his recent interview with James Lynch?
Okay. I've got it on MMA Junkie. Is that all right? I can't find Lynch. Did they speak to him separately?
Who?
Junkie.
I don't think so. I think they're just probably
Okay.
writing something that Lynch talked about him with.
Yeah. Okay. Fanatics View. Is that it? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Um. I can only find the YouTube video of that. So sorry, James. Is there a clip of it? Is he okay with us sharing that as well on this show?
The clip? There's
Yeah.
always a clip on James's
Twitter.
Twitter.
Okay. I'll try and find that. But basically, Colby Covington. Oh, here you go. We'll share this quickly, then I'll find the clip. But this is the thing of the McGregor suspension, as John said. Breaking news. It is January 2022. Officially, McGregor cannot fight again unless he receives clearance on the fractured leg. Well, he's minimum suspension 6 weeks. He's on crutches for 6 weeks, so I don't think he'll be sparring anyone. But Colby Covington, let's find that. The gist of that is that Colby Covington has challenged Dustin Poirier to come up to to welterweight. Is that correct, John? And settle their rivalry.
Yeah, I don't even think it's like Poirier doesn't even talk about Covington at all.
Yeah.
And just Covington just goes at Poirier. It's weird now. It's to the point like it's desperate, dude. Like and what he's saying is he's just copying. Okay, so if you go to MMA Mania,
Mm,
they have an article on it, MMA Mania.
okay. Well, I just wanted to see if we could get the clip for
Oh, the
James.
clip, you just passed it.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, but he looks like he was talking about something
Right
else.
here. What is this?
This is about Usman.
Oh, no. I don't I
Yeah.
think there's no clip on that then.
Okay.
But if
Well,
you go to MMA Mania, they have something on there.
okay. But I'll bring it up. I got it on Junkie somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I don't think that'll happen, right? Not for me.
Yeah, Junkie's the one who they transcribed it first.
Yeah. I thought it showed the charitable, nice guy, the true character of Dustin, the doofus Saurier last night. Colby Covington said in an interview with Fanatics View, he's out there strutting in front of Conor's face. Obviously, it was a fluke. Conor broke his leg. It was a fluke decision ending. It wasn't a knockout. It wasn't a clear-cut decision. It wasn't a submission. The guy is out there strutting in front of the guy's face at a downfall. When McGregor made his career and did everything for Dustin to give him this big fight, I thought it was funny. It showed his true colors, character. He's got his little prop, his wife Jolie out there. There you go. What else did he say? Yada yada yada. He's sort of challenging to come up, isn't he? People were giving me a lot of stuff this week. They were like, "Why are you picking on Dustin, dude? Dustin weighs more than me. We used to weigh in at the American Top Team all the time. The guy would weigh 188, 190. I'm like 185. I just don't want to cut a bunch of weight because I know I'm the best in the world at the weight class I fight in. I don't have to look for a weight advantage and cut all this weight to feel like I'm the bigger guy. So all the people saying stop picking on lightweights, I'm picking on a guy that's bigger than me. It's not my fault. Dustin was saying to the media, it's on site when I see Colby. But I've seen the guy 40 or 50 times since he said it's on site. So who's the man of their word? Who's not a man of their word? His best money opportunity, if he wants to do good business, to come up to 170 and see Daddy. There you go.
Well, the thing is, like, Colby Covington has been known to fabricate a lot of
Yes.
things in the past, and it's hard to believe anything he says. It's funny, it's corny. He's he's at the same level as Henry Cejudo. It's actually he's Henry Cejudo's not even that high of a level. Colby Covington is very high level of just creating things in his mind, right? He's living in Peter Pan land, and it's just sad. Like Colby Covington, he's just running out of fuel, man. That's what it looks like. He's just running out of fuel, and it almost looks like that he might not even get the Usman fight because he's trying to pull for this Poirier fight. You know, it's
When did he fight? It's nearly been a year, right? Am
yeah,
I wrong?
and the crazy part about it is he has no wins over a top 10 ranked opponent
Mm.
fighters. Which is crazy
Beat
that you could.
Woodley September, I want to say, last year.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, and man, he's getting real desperate, man. It's just
Yeah.
the personality and everything aside, like he needs to fight, man. Like that's just it. And him just sitting there doing interviews and talking about it, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense,
I
and it
see
doesn't make dollars.
if Dustin won the lightweight title and then Colby somehow maybe beat Usman in the rematch, if they did that, then maybe you could look at Dustin Colby champ fight,
Yeah,
Dustin going up to welterweight. Otherwise, I don't really want to see it right now. I think Dustin's got other business to handle.
yeah. I don't think we're gonna see any. I don't think he's gonna go fight Colby. I don't think you know. I don't think that Colby wants to go up there and fight, or Dustin wants to go up there and fight Colby. I don't think that's gonna happen at all. I think Colby or Dustin's focused on 155, and if Colby wants to fight him, he's gonna have to go down to 155, which is probably not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
And
John KL saying, why don't they do Masvidal Colby? Look, I
that would
don't
be
know.
good. That would be a good fight.
It would
But
have been good a year ago.
yeah, it would have been good a long time ago. It would be good. It's just, oh man, it's frustrating. For like probably for some fans to watch that division in some ways. But then it's probably more frustrating being a fighter in that top five, because everybody's trying to line themselves up for whatever is the most advantageous money fight for them or for the title, and it's just like you're like grasping at whatever you can grasp at, and that's what kind of like Colby is doing right now. I don't think Colby has much leverage anymore, and
Yeah.
and Trump's not president, so that America like that whole America thing is, it seems like he's kind of like swaying away from that, right? Because didn't you see Trump at the fights? And did you see him? He went over there and hugged Jorge Masvidal.
I
So
didn't see Colby tweeting about it either.
exactly, right? So it's one thing that I noticed about last weekend's fights, whoever Justin Bieber's cheering for, you never go with that fighter. Because the last two pay-per-views, man, he's been cheering for Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor. And guess what happened to both those guys? Not good results. Man, it's wild, man. But yeah, what we got? We got about 7 more minutes or so.
Yeah.
We'll be that 90-minute
Have you
mark. Get
got
some
any
questions in,
questions? Yeah.
guys. Like, you guys got some questions? Pick our brains or
Yeah.
something. Pick our boogers. I don't know. Whatever.
Otherwise, John's show will be back on Friday, I think.
Yes, sir. I'll be having Aaron Bronstetter and Dan Tom. Aaron Bronstetter of TSN. Is it TSN?
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TSN.
TSN.
And Dan Tom of MMA Junkie. They will be on this Friday morning, which is Thursday night, in North America. Have those guys on, talk about all this stuff. Pick their brains on that. Maybe Nick will hop on with us. I don't know if he's
It could be.
awake. And
It's just you do it at 9 a.m. now, and that's just like when I wake up.
we've always done it at that time, I think. Maybe. I
I
don't
think
know.
it's because it switched back an hour because of the
The time?
time difference. Yeah, but
No, there was no time difference. It doesn't. We don't have like daily savings time over here.
I can be awake for that.
No, it's all good, you know. But yeah, just that'll be the show, and then I just put up an interview with Cynthia Calvillo. It's a pretty good interview. She has a fight coming up soon. Not soon, but she has a fight coming up on at UFC 266 against Jessica Andrade, and I
Yeah,
think that's a great fight right there. It's gonna be
yeah,
violent.
and I just hopped on before I hopped on this with John. I spoke to Peter Murray, Pete or Peter. I was calling him Peter, but the CEO of the PFL, and
Oh, okay.
we'll have a video on him talking about how the season's gone and the playoffs. Some cool stuff.
Oh,
He
we got a
said,
question right now. We got some
"Here we
questions.
go."
Yeah,
Yeah.
coming in. Let's see what they got.
John Jones done. Thoughts? Or
Nah, John
done?
Jones ain't done.
Thoughts?
John Jones, yes. Done? No. Thoughts? I think he's just waiting. I think this time away from the cage is good for him because he's been fighting continuously for so long, man. I think taking that break right now is only going to make him better. And he's going to come back and he's going to be fighting at heavyweight. And the UFC is going to end up getting pitted into a corner to where they have to bring back John Jones. And they're going to have to meet him somewhere in the middle with that money. And we're going to see him. And I love to see it. So we'll see what happens.
Kamaru Usman. Another question from Jujudo. No one can beat him at 170. Edwards versus Usman. So I guess, do you think Edwards can beat Kamaru Usman? He didn't the first
Well,
time.
we won't know until the fight happens, right? So, whenever we feel like someone is unbeatable, they normally end up getting beaten by somebody, right? Except for Habib, but everybody else, and John Jones, but everybody else, they ended up losing, right? So, I always want to see the next guy that is deserving and the next guy that we think maybe has the skills to beat the guy. I want to see them fight, man. Like, I want to see fighters prove that they are the best, that they are the goats of their division, or the creme de la creme of the weight class. So let Leon fight him. I think Leon deserves it.
Derek Lewis, the top heavyweight draw.
He's one of them. He is definitely one of them, dude. He's pretty popular, man. Like, I think he's one of the best personalities in that division. I think he's great on the mic. He's
Crowd
just
loves him.
natural. Yeah, he's just naturally likable. He's like that. He kind of has that like big, scary teddy bear feel. Like he's a guy that you could like have your baby hold, but then a guy that's gonna knock out the guy that's trying to steal your car. Right? It's just that's Derek Lewis. Like, I think he is a draw, but the top draw, quite possibly, man. It seems like it. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, thoughts on the UFC returning to Fight Island? Asks Alan Bones Jones, and then hoping to be back in London in September. I believe Dana said that
No,
at the presser.
I heard Fight Island is gonna happen in October. Are they going to before that? I didn't hear anything about that. I heard that their Fight Island should be in October, and I heard Fight Island is gonna be, I think the Volkanovski card, maybe the Volkanovski Ortega card, maybe is gonna be on Fight Island. This is just what I heard. London in September. I hope so, but I don't know what the situation is in England. Is it opening up? Like, you should know better than me,
It
Nick.
is opening up, but the cases are skyrocketing again, and it's probably going to get shut down again. So I don't think they could plan too far ahead.
They can't,
They should
because I
definitely
heard
have backup plan for that.
I heard that they've been trying to get international shows going. Like, they've been looking at all kinds of cities. It's just like they have to go
Yeah,
day by day, by month, right? They can't plan anything out too far ahead unless it's in America.
but the UK has done very well with the vaccination drive. So I think it could be a possibility.
All right.
Our government's a little bit more susceptible to criticism than some of the states the UFC go to. So they may be cowed into canceling things like that. But we'll see. They just had a football tournament. You know, a lot of games from the Euro tournament were played there in Wembley. Let's not talk about that. But what's next for Blades if he beats Rosenstrike? Because he has one more fight on his contract, I think.
I think if Stipe is a possibility, you put him against Stipe. They haven't fought yet.
He's going to fight Jairzinho, right?
Yeah, they're set up next.
Yeah. So would the UFC consider just cutting him, even if he wins? Or
No, I don't think so.
They don't like him though.
I think that they give him another fight, and it doesn't matter if he wins or loses in that fight because they can
Maybe
like,
he wants to go if he gets a big offer from PFL or
then go. I don't think the UFC is gonna hold him back, right?
Exactly. Trying to see any other questions here.
What else?
Good day, fellas, says Gus. Harris, what about that Thai KO? Yes, it was very good. Did you enjoy the shoeys? John, have you ever had a shoey?
Nah, I never had a shoey, and I doubt that I would have one. You'd have to be a really into drinking, right, to be doing shoeys. Right, and it's not a thing that just guys that are like casual drinkers are just going out there and doing shoeys. Maybe you never know if you're around Ty, and Ty's just like, let's do a shoey. You never know. You might get caught up in the moment, right? Maybe.
Your wife is your husband, says they put Tony above Conor in the rankings. WTF? Tony's now ranked number 5, and Conor is ranked number 7.
Yeah, very weird.
No way Tony should be in the top 5 again. The rankings shouldn't change, and they put RDA at number 6.
RDA should be number 5.
Let's have a look at these rankings. I think that's sort of just trying to promote the fighters they know are going to be fighting in the next year because Conor's not. You could remove Conor from the rankings if he's
I think he's
not going to come back for a year and a half.
Eventually,
2 years.
They need to. What if they kept him in the rankings for like 2 years?
Yeah, it's got to be a point.
Fighting.
Yeah, here you go. Lightweight. Ferguson up 1, RDA at 1, Conor down 2. Brad Tavares up 3 in middleweight. Any other jumps? I'm trying to see here. Nothing major.
Why is Sadiq Youssef ranked 11th and 12th? That's so trippy. There's 2 Sadiq Youssefs. God damn.
There's 2 Kyler Phillips as well.
Yeah.
In Benson.
Wow.
Interesting. Yeah, sort your shit out, UFC.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Wrap it up there if you wanna.
Let's wrap it up. Appreciate you guys coming on and you know.
Let's find out if this is true. Yeah. Henry Ford shouting that Ryan Hall should be ashamed. I had no idea if this is true that Ryan Hall's going to retire. So this was just something from Judo in the comments. We'll see, right? I hope not. I like Ryan Hall. Anyway, appreciate you all commenting, liking, subscribing. We'll be back, I think, the podcast on Thursday, me and Chris. And then John will be back on Friday, like he said, with Dan, Tom, and Aaron Bronstetter, which should be fun. And yeah, if you haven't already, check out John's interview with Cynthia Calvillo. And I will have Peter Murray tomorrow, I think. Anyway, it's been great fun. Thank you very much for listening and watching as well. And we'll see you next time.